Hello, my Dharma brothers and sisters and friends. Here we are. I was telling my friend that it's amazing that this is where the Buddha taught the first discourse. And now, even in Uganda, we have this. It's all started here. And most people, when they come here in this place, like they really recite the Noble Eightfold Path in Pali language. That's what they're doing. For me, I can hear that they are reciting exactly what the Buddha taught. For me, I would do something like this. We would do something like this. One would be really recalling exactly what the Buddha taught. Just a recap. And then meditate on it. That's it. And that will be fulfilling the Buddha's wish for us. Okay? So we are not going to do all the Pali Noble Eightfold Path. I mean, the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta is very long, but other people, they have been doing it. But for me, let's spend time like this, reminding ourselves the Buddha's teaching, Noble Eightfold Path. And for me, I have an acronym for you to remember this path. It's called Visa, American Express, and the MasterCard. So you can't leave this place without knowing what the Buddha taught here. All right? So we're going to recap that, and after that, we meditate on it. We just take one part of it and meditate. So, my friend sits like my grandmother. You just remind me of my grandmother. Exactly. And many people in Uganda sit like her. I've never seen, since I left Uganda, I've never seen somebody who sits like this. This is the first time I see somebody sit like this. I'm so happy. Please take a picture. You just remind me of my grandma. It's so beautiful to see somebody sitting like this. It's so beautiful. Okay. Okay, so as usual, before our tradition, monks, when they give a little bit of Dhamet, a little bit Dhamma talk, we invite the devas to be among us. I'm going to do it in Pali. Samanta chakawalesu atra gachantu devata saddhamma muni rajasa sunanti sagamokadam dhamma savana karo Yambadanda Dhamma Savana Karo Yambadanda Dhamma Savana Karo Yambadanda. Then the listeners will say Sadhu, 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 Sadhu. That's the traditional way in Theravada tradition, inviting the devas, invisible being, to be here. So now this Noble Eightfold Path, my teacher Bhante Buddharakkhita wrote a book called The 8 Steps, Mindfulness Steps to Happiness. It's a beautiful book. And when I read this book, I decided to use that template, whether I'm talking about economics, whether I'm talking about Buddhist environment, whether I'm talking about the intersection between Buddhism and African wisdom. I've used it everywhere. Yeah, I just have to see how it fits into whatever theme I'm talking about. So now, to remember this path very well, I talked about visa. Visa is, V stands for vision. So the Buddha had a vision. Didn't start without a vision. And this vision is that there is suffering, there is a cause, there is happiness, ultimate happiness, and the way to ultimate happiness. During the time of the Buddha, there were so many metaphysics about this. But the Buddha really simplified it for us, not to think about so many things and really just go to the real stuff. Many times people were asking the Buddha questions about metaphysics. The Buddha said, no, that's not what we need. A good metaphor for this, he said that, I think he gave this story, this metaphor. He talked about when somebody is shot by an arrow. And then the doctor comes, the physician comes, I would like to remove the arrow. Then this patient will say, oh, please don't remove this arrow until we know who's the man who shot it. Who is this person? What is caste? What now? What was the poison? A snake? Which kind of snake? What about the feather? What about the, so the Buddha said such a person will die without finding all answers to this question. So then the Buddha said that the same thing when we are faced with suffering, we have to know the real cause of it and happiness and the way to happiness. The rest is not very important in the moment. So that's why we know that this is a very, very important path. And in one, similarly, he used leaves of a tree, and he asked the Buddha, "What do you think? What do you think, monks? What do you think? The leaves in my hand, or the leaves around the world? All of the leaves?" Oh, the monks say, "Of course. This one is less compared to the leaves all over the world." He said, "Okay, this much is what you need. This is what you need." And even after now, we see many people studying so many things and leave the leaves for what they need. So in other words, they do everything except what they need. And this is what we need to know, the Four Noble Truth, the Noble Eightfold Path. Another way of saying Noble Eightfold Path is the Four Noble Truth. This is it. You can study economy, economics, every studies, but exactly this is what we need. So start with vision of the Four Noble Truth. Also another vision is to know that there is something wholesome and unwholesome, the root of wholesome and the root of unwholesome. In other words, the Pali word is kusala. Kusala is what's wholesome, what's skillful. We should know the root of what's skillful, like generosity, loving kindness, compassion, wisdom. All this is the roots for skillful states of mind. And also, we should know that there's also what's unwholesome, akusala, or unskillful. And the root of that is greed, hatred, delusion, and all mental, of course, defilements. So that one also that's a good vision. He said, Buddha, he told us we should cultivate that. Another vision is knowing the law of karma. Most people say, oh, this karma, I don't believe in law of karma. This is like Asian mambo jumbo, you know. But I see them putting on shoes. But the very fact you're putting on shoes, you know that you don't want to step on thorns and yeah. So, but the people say, no, for us we don't believe in law of karma. And to make it worse, put rebirth there. I said, we are not going to study it. But really the law of karma, whether you know it or not, it just acts its way. It's just like the law of gravity. Whether you know it or not, it will do its way. You can go on the kind of riots that you don't believe in law of gravity, but law of gravity doesn't care. I remember visiting my grandmother who used to sit like this. So now I go there as a young boy, fascinated with the village. We have papaya trees, and I didn't know papaya. Papaya I just got from the market and eat in a town. But when I visited my grandmother in the village, I saw papaya with a big papaya, very, very yellow, and I said, I'm going to climb it. I'm going to climb and get this papaya for myself. I climbed and I reached the branch of papaya and I came together with my papaya on the ground. So the law of gravity doesn't care whether you have a PhD in physics or whether you're an African boy who has visited the grandmother. I felt so bad. And when I ask why this tree is breaking very fast, they say papaya tree is very soft. You cannot climb it. You should just use a stick to get papaya. That was a big lesson for me. So anyway, that's having a right view of knowing the law of gravity. And actually it's amazing. And the law of gravity, Newton's, when he was in England, actually apples were falling. Apples were falling, but nobody cared. They're just falling. But then Newton said, they are falling because of this. And exactly what the Buddha told us in this view. People were suffering, but they didn't know the cause. And then Buddha identified it. So if you don't want to believe it, Buddha said you should have a view so that you know exactly that that's how things are. And it's not a punishment or even a reward. It's how things are. It's just like a law of gravity. If you go up there and you fall, you don't blame the law of gravity. And the law of gravity is not punishing you. It's just the way how things are. So now with visa, we have another I there. I stands for intention. Right intention, we have seen right view, then intention is right intention, right thoughts. And these are thoughts of loving kindness, which is the opposite of hatred. Thoughts of compassion, opposite of that. It is the opposite also of hatred. There is also thoughts of generosity, which is the opposite of non-greed. Actually, that one has a lot of things there. Generosity, gratitude, contentment, all those comes under that, those kind of thoughts. And also thoughts of course, we can, Buddha here didn't put thoughts of non-delusion because there's already mentioned in the view, right there, yeah? So people ask, oh, why did the Buddha not talk about thought of non-delusion in that visa? No, no, he has already mentioned it, how Buddha was very amazing. It was amazing, very systematic. He didn't want to repeat it. Yeah, so we know those are three kinds of thoughts. All right, so it's very easy to remember thoughts of generosity, thought of loving kindness or compassion, and thought of, yeah, that's finished. So now S. S stands for speech, right speech. Speak the truth. Speak with kindness. Speak harmoniously. Speak meaningfully. When we talk about thought of, right speech, which is the opposite of lying, speak the truth, you should not lie, you should not speak harshly, you should not speak divisively, and you should not speak meaningless, what we call blah, 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 blah. Now, why the Buddha saw that this is a cause of suffering? Actually, I just looked at a documentary where they were talking about polygraph. You know polygraph? Polygraph. So actually, if somebody is not telling the truth, the body will tell the truth. And it measures how stressful you are. So that Buddha identified it. I think Buddha was the first person to do polygraph. And for me, I have a saying which said the ability to tell a lie is a liability. I'm playing with words. The ability to tell a lie is a what? Liability. So then we know we have to have a good memory to remember the lie that we told, and we have to again upgrade our memory. We run out of memory and we upgrade it in order to remember all the lies, because we have to get another lie to cover the other one. A lot of stress. No wonder the Buddha identified this one as the way to peace and to happiness is to have right speech. So now we have 4 elements there we have covered. Then we go to A. A stands for right action. The action that of non-killing. That means preserving life. The action of non-stealing. That means protecting people's property. It's all about respect, actually. Respecting for life, respecting for one's property, others' property, and then the action of abstaining from sexual misconduct, not raping and all this kind of. That means the positive side of that, it really means to really guard your senses and protect your energy. Don't misuse that sexual energy to harm others, right? So then we finish the visa. Who has a visa card? We all. You don't have visa card? Visa. No, we go to American Express. American Express is the A stands. Dr. Buddha talked about right livelihood, but unfortunately, I didn't find the card that starts with the L. It would be LE. If I was a business person, I should start one. I should start a credit card, a debit card, which is called LE. But since we don't have L, then we have what we call, we had to find out something. Alimentation. Alimentation, the support, the way you live your life is alimentation. It's a mouthful, eh? Alimentation. But bear with it, so long as you know what it means the other side of livelihood. Yeah? It is, but it's similar to alimentation. Yeah, so the way we earn our livelihood should be in sync with the Noble Eightfold Path. In other words, though we talk about the livelihood of monks and lay people, it's about really the whole Noble Eightfold Path should be really integrated the way you earn your living. Eh? Yeah, you shouldn't kill to earn your living. You should not tell lies to earn your living, and all those kind of things. You should have a right view when you earn your living. But of course, Buddha was very specific, talking about the trades. Don't sell poison, alcohol, then don't trade in human flesh, don't trade in meat, and slavery, and all that kind of thing. So that's pretty easy. So we go to the E. Now, how can you guess the E? Since you are here already, American Express. Yeah, right effort. Yeah, I know you have that card, American Express. So, right effort. This is the effort to prevent and abandon what's unskillful, which we have seen already in a right view. Eh? There are four kinds. One is to prevent and abandon unskillful state of mind. Then the other kind of effort is also very important, is to develop and maintain, to maintain what's skillful. So we need to maintain it. It's not enough to just cultivate them and leave them there. Even when you build a building, and if you don't maintain it, it will just go haywire. So we need to maintain this skillful state of mind. We go to MasterCard. Our favorite one is MasterCard. Everywhere around the world, everybody is carrying MasterCard. They don't want to leave it behind. So MasterCard M stands for right mindfulness. Mindfulness, we are going to do it here. We are going to do it here. Once you do that one, everything comes in. Once you have mindfulness, right mindfulness, it means that all other things are there. So you just need just that right mindfulness, and right view will come, right thought will come, and all that. So we'll do the session if we have time. So now we go to C, which is right concentration. And that right concentration, really the culmination of all what we are doing. When you have cultivated the skillful state of mind, when you are happy, naturally the mind will concentrate, because you don't have to worry about whether you kill what you kill or you stepped on a cockroach. You don't worry about my mind is full of hatred. So all these things, they are skillful state of mind, and the mind will just come by itself and settle. But that's not the end. We need to go to visa and go and on. My explanation seems linear, but actually it's circular like this. It goes like this. What a beautiful time that we are just revising exactly what was taught here. For me, it brings me a lot of joy. And this trip is about cultivating that joy and faith and really live that Noble Eightfold Path in our life. So that's my little bit of sharing. Again, it's Visa, MasterCard. We all have it. Don't leave this place without these three cards, right? Okay, now let us, we said that the proof of the pudding is in the eating, all right? The proof of the pudding is in the eating. So, time-wise, what's the time we have? We are going to meditate. How many minutes? 10 minutes? Yeah, because now we can settle down and just be mindfulness. I'd like you to settle down and really reflect on how very lucky and we are. For me, I feel a lot of joy just coming here and being a place where the Buddha was teaching and 5 people were listening. It brings a lot of joy. Actually, these sites, whichever site we go, it brings a lot of joy. And joy is not just having joy and say, oh, I'm full of joy. Actually, when you have joy, first it starts with faith. Just even knowing the Noble Eightfold Path, that there's Visa, American Express, and MasterCard, the way to lead out of suffering. The Buddha says that's a path. And once you take that path, it's an exit. It's just like driving, and you see the exit. Wow, I'm not going to spend my gas and time. So that brings a lot of joy, isn't it? Who has ever driven and then you finally hit the right exit? And then you see, wow, I'm going to arrive in the right time. But you miss the exit, you're in deep trouble. There's a place in Washington, D.C. If you miss an exit, you can drive for an hour. But in life, if you miss an exit, you can really go for lifetimes. I'm telling you, but we have the right exit. Let's feel joy together. It brings faith and confidence. Then there's faith. Then from faith, there's gladness. From gladness, then there's joy. Then from joy, there's calmness. Then from calmness, there's happiness. And then from happiness, there's concentration. Do you see where all this comes from? It all starts with the faith and confidence that, wow, I'm just following the footsteps of the Buddha. We are following the footsteps of the Buddha, and what's going to come out of that is really the joy, the gladness, and the happiness, and that will lead to concentration. So reflecting on how in this life, being born a human being in this life, to be able to follow the footsteps of the Buddha is amazing. So let's meditate first on that reflection that we are grateful to be alive, to be happy, to be able to follow the footsteps of the Buddha, and then we do mindfulness, and then shooting the bell because it's the timekeeper. All right? Me, I can stay here because I'm Buddharakkhita, protected by the Buddha. I can sit here for the whole day because I feel a lot of joy. But, we have to keep the time. So please, 10 minutes. Okay, sit comfortably, feel at ease. I know there's a lot of sounds in the background, but let that not be a disturbance to you. Just know that you have a right view and all those three cards, at least an understanding of this. And whenever you meditate, when there's noise in the background, in order not to be a disturbance for you, use it as meditation itself in the beginning. So as you are tuning in the sound, external sound, just be aware of hearing, 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 hearing. And just be aware, sometimes there's even a space for silence, sometimes there's sound, and just be aware of the beginning of the sound and the end of the sound. So instead of just thinking, oh, when this sound is going to stop and I meditate, no, use it as part of meditation. Of course, you have to take a few slow, deep breaths to relax and feel grounded. Let it go of the past and the future and abide in the present moment, however way it presents itself to you. Now the present moment is presenting itself to us with a lot of sound in the background. Here we have to use mindfulness of sound. Hearing, hearing, hearing. Once we tune into that sound, actually it can go in a background. Sounds can also help us to keep us grounded in the present moment without the mind wandering. And if the mind wanders to thoughts, again, don't fight with the mind. Just be aware of wandering, wandering. Then from the external sounds, you can just get into the body. Be aware of the area around your eyes. This is called progressive relaxation, which will help us to put the sound in the background by focusing on what's going on in your body. Be aware of the areas around the eyes. Is there any tension, tightness? You can close your eyes softly. Be aware of the areas around the nose, the areas around your ears as sounds impinging them. Be aware of hearing, hearing, hearing. Come back to the mouth. Be aware of the areas around the mouth. Relax your tongue and jaws. Be mindful of that area. Mindful of the jaws as you relax them. Mindful of the neck. Relax your neck. Your shoulders. Drop them so that you can breathe as normal as possible. There's a tendency to store the stress there without knowing. See if you can relax your shoulders. This is called mindfulness of the body, part of the MasterCard. Awareness of your hands, elbows, then the finger touching each other. Come back now to the chest as it's rising and pass, always rising and falling, your chest, breast area. Awareness of the rising and the fall of abdomen. Rising and falling, abdomen. Progressive relaxation, relax your tummy. Breathing in and out, breathing in, abdomen rises, breathing out, it falls. Be aware of the area around your hips, your thighs, and your knee, your calves, your ankle, both of them, and the feet. So we have finished this progressive relaxation, really diving into our internal world in a general way, but now we can really be aware of the breath as it comes and goes at the nostrils. Be aware of the touch sensation of the breath. And we can open to any other thing that comes as we are mindful of the breath coming in and out. You can open your awareness to anything that comes, whether it's a sensation, a feeling, an emotion, thoughts, sounds. So you allow your mindfulness to be very flexible. And then from time to time, you come back to the center. Aim your attention here now in the present moment.
Atupamaya sabbe sam satanam sukokamato pasitwa kamato metta sabbasate subhavaye. Having seen that all beings like oneself have a desire for happiness, one methodically develops loving kindness for all beings. Reflect along these lines. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May I be free from suffering and its causes. May all beings be free from suffering and its causes. May I be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Can you repeat? You can say, Sadhu, 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 Sadhu. Yeah. Thank you very much for your practice.